Hello there! I play a decent amount of Magic the Gathering. In my time, I encounter many things: dinosaurs, dragons, vampires, players who have way more money to spend on the game than I do. And in all of those instances, I like to have cards that really shake up the game, if that makes sense. It's going to, because I'm going to explain it. Sort of. Kind of. You'll get the gist of it. Let's talk about cards that change everything. Cue the soundtrack. Anyway, we're going to talk about the first theme. I'm going to be calling them themes, I guess. They're more motifs than themes, but that's an issue to take up with your language arts teacher. These first three cards are as follows: Alexios, Deimos of Cosmos. This dude loves oses. Karn the Betrayer, and Slicer Slicer, he's the hired muscle. And Slicer hired, Jesus Christ. Slicer hired muscle, my God. All of these cards, as you can see on screen, have to attack. They do cool stuff. Alexios says at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player gains control of Alexios, untaps it, puts a +1 counter on it. It gains haste, and it has to attack, can't be sacked, and it can't attack me, its owner, probably, if I ran this deck. Karn the Betrayer has to attack each combat. If you lose control of it, you draw 2 cards, and then you give it to an opponent if it takes damage. Very fun. Slicer, same thing basically. He gets goaded, and then you pass it around. All these cards, I think, really make the game faster. I mean, they are red deck cards. I don't know, they're red cards, so they're cool. But you run them in decks where your opponents like to sit around and build combo pieces and whatnot. And you're like, no, you got to swing. You got to do some combat. You got to make some enemies at the table. I'm just providing the guns to everybody. You know what I mean? If that makes sense? Whatever. I like them. They're cool. What they bring to the game, I think, is a sense of violence, a sense of overwhelming kind of fun. Because I think it's a lot of like, no, don't swing at me. Oh, but I have to. Ha, ha, ha. And then you kind of have to swing at your opponents. They're going to try and swing it at you. You're going to be like, oh, but I built around this. It's going to be fun. These cards I like. They're very fun commanders. I would run them if I had the time. All right. Next one, I'm going to call the kind of chaosy card. All right. We have Knowledge Pool. It's 6 mana for an artifact with imprint. When it enters the battlefield, each player exiles the top 3 cards of his or her library. Or their. Magic, get to the times, all right? Whenever a player casts a spell from his or her hand or their hand, that player exiles it. If the player does, he or she may exile or they cast another non-land card exiled with Knowledge Pool without paying that card's mana cost. Basically, you have a cool well of cards that you can cast from. Because you cast a card, it'll go into the Knowledge Well, and then you can play with something else. It's cool. Shout out to Mad Dog. Shout out to my boy in the Discord. My boy loves this card, and so I had to talk about it. It's pretty cool. Basically, this changes the game because now no one can cast their original spells. They got to make do with what's in the pool, which I think is really fun. Chaotic, makes the game more exciting in general. I don't know. I would love to play this card. It's 6 mana, so it's a little bit rough, but if you're playing into it, it's fun. It's cool. I like it. Same thing, but kind of different. We have Hive Mind, 5 and a blue for an enchantment. Whenever a player casts an instant or sorcery spell, each other player copies that spell. Each of those players choose new target for his or her or their copy. Very epic. Basically, I don't know. You get to have instant sorceries, and it's fun. Everyone's like, oh, you want a Path to Exile? That's fine. I get a Path to Exile. And then everyone gets to... You're more careful about what you're doing with your instants and sorceries. You're on the back foot, so to speak, and it's fun. It puts your opponents in a tough spot. Meanwhile, you don't really care. You put this card in your deck for a reason. It's fun. Let them copy it. It's cool. Anyway, another one that I like, Endless Whispers, 2 black enchantment. Each creature has, when this creature is put into a graveyard from play, choose target opponent. That player puts this creature card from that graveyard into play under his or her or their control at end of turn. Basically, if I destroy your guy, he goes into your graveyard, and then you're going to go, actually, I'm going to give it to Bob over there. I'm going to let Bob have it now that it's dead. You know, it's sort of like Karn, but like everybody, every creature. It's really fun, I think. I'd love to run this in a deck that it makes sense in, but also in just any black deck that I like having fun and is more chaotic. I don't know. You got to bring some life and levity to these games. Speaking of life and levity, Lane Line of Punishment. That's a cool segue there. If it's in your opening hand, you can just have it on the battlefield. Dope. Players can't gain life. Sorry, my friends with their life gain shenanigans deck. You can't do anything. And players, damage can't be prevented. So no more protection. Sorry, Durex and name one more condom brand I near you. Trojan. Boom. Got it. Yeah, damage can't be prevented. So basically, it's all no holds bar. Whatever damage you take is permanent. You can't like food token your way to victory. You can't essence warden your shenanigans where you make infinite token, whatever. No more life gain. Boom. No more life link. No more shenanigans like that. It's permanent. It's cool. There's a timer. There's a clock now. Dope. Speaking of dope red cards, we have my favorite, and the reason I made this video. Repercussion. 1 red. Whenever a creature is dealt damage, Repercussion deals that much damage to that creature's controller. That's right. So now when you swing and if you block, you're taking that much damage anyway, if that makes sense. But it's cool. They're punching each other in the face. I was playing a game where I had Repercussion out, and I like did a bunch of damage, and I had like damage doublers and triplers and stuff. It was sick. And so they ended up getting like punched in the face when they attacked me for more damage than I took from them. It's great. This card basically means like if you go to combat, now everything's it's personal basically. You take anything your creatures take, you feel it. It makes you an empath. You know what I mean? I love that card. It's also great with Dingus Staff. Not really great, but it's in my same deck as Dingus Staff. Whenever a creature is put into the graveyard, Dingus Staff deals 2 damage to that creature's controller. So anything that dies, just take 2 damage for it. Their lives are not to be thrown away. I see too many 1/1 tokens die like chumps. All right, Dingus Staff means their lives matter. Rest in peace. And I'll just kind of conclude this video with another little guy. Braids, Conjurer Adept, 2 blue, legendary creature, wizard human, 2/2. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may put an artifact, creature, or land card from their hand onto the battlefield. It's blue ramp, just what blue always wanted. Just kidding. Basically, you could just slam out your big creatures, but so can your opponents. But that's the fun part. It's awesome. You can put more land into play. You can put more artifacts into play. Your scary artifacts, your scary creatures, Eldrazi, I don't know. You don't get the cast triggers. You get the ETB triggers. You are building this deck, so you know how to capitalize off it best. But even then, your opponents are like, oh man, I would have never got to play this card if it's not good, but I get to play it now because of Braids. Awesome. What a cool card. This is a fun game. Thank you so much. Mwah! Kiss on the mouth, and then they pull their pants down, and and there's just visceral lovemaking happening under the table. It's great. That's the power of these cards, is people will go, man, my endorphins, my serotonin are off the charts. Let me give you a, come here. Yeah. They're pretty good. I would heavily recommend running any of these cards. I don't know. Do you run any of these cards? Let me know in the comments down below. What are your favorite pet cards that you just are happy to see when they come out onto the battlefield? Let me know in the comments down below. That's the end of the video, though. Leave a like if you like the video. Subscribe if you subscribe it. Donate to the children in Palestine using my link in the description down below. Very epic. Of course, I've got a Discord, by the way. That's where we got knowledge pool from. Yeah, join it. It's also in the description down below. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out. Bye.